Hello, welcome back to another walkthrough of Bam Bam's videos of Dragon Age Inquisition. So if you have not seen the previous videos that were this, recommend you watch them before watching this one. Link below will be future reference as well. My second attempt of Inquisition with the imported decisions from Origins and 2 into this one, along with future reference, Dragon Age the Veilguard, which will have to be done on the PS5, obviously. And yeah, obviously Dragon Age the Veilguard, which is Dragon Age 4. Link below will be as well other BioWare EA games such as the Mass Effect trilogy, with the new Mass Effect game coming out. And since this is like a fantasy world kind of game, other fantasy games will also be linked below. Like close to Dragon Age will be linked below. Not gonna go to the specific details of fantasy, but similar fantasy games to Dragon Age will be linked below. And picking up where we left off, we have finally done the Wicked Hearts and Wicked Eyes and Wicked Hearts, where you're supposed to save Empress Celine. We did not get a full 100 chord approval, which I know for a fact will play a different outcome to the ending, because when you get to the part where you play the Trespasser DLC, or just at the end of the game where Morrigan talks over, I think supposedly depending on the outcome of the court approval, Empress Celine will say something in the credit thing, but it all depends on how your court approval is. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah, we also done the Wicked Grace game as well, and I've seen so many intros and titles to that, but I never actually watched the full version of it to show what exactly happens. But I know that if you romance Josephine, she supposedly cheats and helps you win, but then supposedly if you romance Bull, Colin, Dorian, or whoever else, you supposedly don't win, or if you are going to win, you have to make different choices or something. I don't know. I never watched the videos, so I don't actually know how that worked. And obviously, as I said, we did the mission to save Empress Celine, and obviously from that, we also now get Morrigan. It's kind of funny too how Morrigan makes return here. You only hear her name in the second game, and now she supposedly plays a big role in the Veilguard. And you think she would, because her mother was Flameth, Ajabalanar, Mythal and all that, so in a way it kind of makes sense for Morrigan to play a vital role in the Veilguard. But I have too many hopes out for the Veilguard, for all the postpones, all the crazy stuff that have been happening to it, which took the past 8 years to finally get it released. But we'll see what happens when the game finally comes out. Other than that, I believe I also said that since we have done the Wicked Grace and Wicked Heart game, speak to you if I was just in the horror room. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it just goes straight away to whatever it is you have to do next. But once we did that, I did say we'll start the DLC Descent, and then obviously once we do that one, we start the Jaws of Hakon, and then pretty much after that we'll just do all the small side stuff we can do before we get back to the main story of the game. So let's continue on.
I need to have a question will be you, and the second one will be Bastard. They've claimed for years my crime serials don't sell in Orlais. So why is the Council of Heralds asking me for autographs? Sorry, distracted. Anyway, you need something?
Carry on.
There are spirits hovering by the veil to observe the thrones of powerful nations, the machinations, betrayals. After our time in Halam Shirao, I understand why. I had forgotten how I missed court intrigue.
You missed court intrigue? When were you at court?
Oh, well, never directly, of course. An elven apostate is rarely invited to speak with empresses and kings. But from the Fade, I have watched dynasties form and empires crumble. It is sometimes savage, sometimes noble, and always fascinating. In any event, Celine should now be a steadfast ally, especially after helping her neutralize Briala.
I hope you know that I didn't turn over Briala lightly. If I'd had another option...
What? Why would I disapprove of... Oh, because we're both elves. I'm sorry, I was confused. I do not consider myself to have much in common with the elves.
Who do you have much in common with? Who are your people?
A good question. I joined the Inquisition to save the world. Regardless of who my people are, this was the best way to help them. As for the elves of Orlais, Briala did what she could. She was an admirable woman, even if her gambit failed.
Even if we couldn't help Briala, I hope we can make life better for Orlesian elves.
Stop Corypheus. That will do for a start. It speaks well of you to feel for the oppressed. Help them for that. Know them for what they are, instead of just seeing a pair of pointed ears.
Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. You saved an empress, and now she's eating out of your hand. Perfect mental image. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick.
That's something you actually miss.
Who wouldn't? All the drama, the scandal, the petty maneuverings. Back home, we engage in social affairs with the grim intensity of war. When blood is spilled, the battle is won. Less fun when you're the target, but to watch. My, yes. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating.
I should go.
Naturally.
Greetings again, Inquisitor. I'll leave you to it.
Here is the request Harry made. I will see he gets it. So it's true. Some look to Cassandra or even me as Justinia's successor. I never thought the idea would gain momentum. There is, after all, no shortage of vultures circling the Sunburst throne.
Is becoming divine something you really want?
When Justinia was alive, I would have laughed at anyone who even suggested that I could be her successor. Things have changed. Still, I don't know. Restoring the Chantry will be like trying to steer a sinking vessel through a storm.
Whoever becomes divine will have my support if she requires it.
And I'm sure whoever becomes divine will absolutely require the Inquisition's backing. The Chantry is faltering, but it still has influence over the people. Who tells the people what's right? Who do they look to in times of peril? A divine with enough support can change the Chantry. And with it, Thedas. But this is a discussion for later. If Corypheus wins, finding a new divine will be the least of our problems.
My dear, I'm afraid I must ask you for help. There is an alchemical formula that I must complete, but I have been unable to obtain a critical ingredient. The heart of a snowy wyvern. I had arranged to obtain one, but the chevaliers working with me were killed in the Civil War.
If I'm going to hunt down a snowy wyvern, I need you to tell me everything you know about it.
They're quite rare and exceedingly dangerous. Their venom is the most potent of any wyvern. Ordinary hunters would not make the attempt. The risk is too great. You, my dear, would certainly be an equal to this monster.
I didn't know you were an alchemist, Vivian. What exactly is this project you're working on?
It is a special request from a member of the Council of Heralds. I am still the Imperial Court Enchanter, after all. The matter is private. That is all there is to say.
You want me to risk my life to get this thing for you, but you won't tell me what it's for.
My dear, it is hardly proper for me to blab the secrets of those who put trust in my discretion. I would do no less for you, after all.
I'll do what I can.
Thank you, my dear. I would be most grateful. I shall give the location of its lair to Cullen. Remember, my dear, I must have its heart, or the potion will not work. I eagerly await your success.
Will you not consider it, Lady Cassandra? The clerics are still sequestered. If no one steps forward, they will debate until...
And you think I could make them agree? I've heard enough for one day, Mother Giselle.
Talk to her, your worship.
The fun never ends in Skyhold, does it?
The Inquisitor was hilarious. That's what they'll say one day, you watch. I assume you've heard that Leliana and I are both candidates to be the next Divine. Because of what happened at Halam Shiral, of course, the Empire favors you. Thus everyone close to you. So now the Chantry bandies our names about without even asking us first.
How can you and Leliana be candidates? You're not even priests.
It's not without precedent. Amar III was sister to the Emperor, and Galatea a commoner. Leliana and I were, at least, part of the Chantry hierarchy. It would be accepted.
If they'll pick non-priests, why am I not a candidate?
Because you're a mage, first and foremost. If they name you a candidate, they may as well join the Tevinter Imperium. Truly, though, I imagine it's because they're frightened of you. A weight such as yours would break the Sunburst throne and tear the Chantry to pieces. I just don't know why they believe Leliana or I would be any better.
If you don't want it, then tell them so.
Surely it was never meant to be like this. The Chantry, the Circle of Magi, the Templars, this cannot be what they intended when it all began. The Chantry should provide faith, hope. Instead, it cannot veer from its course, even in the face of certain death.
I'm surprised to hear you of all people say that.
Oh? Am I not the same woman who declared the Inquisition against the Chantry's wishes? In all my years as a Seeker, I did what I was told. My faith demanded it. But now my faith demands something else. That I see with better eyes.
Many extraordinary things have happened to get us to this point.
I'm not so certain. I think it has been a long time coming. Did you know Varric is Andrastian? Oh, he blasphemes with every second breath, but deep down he believes. His heart is virtuous. But he would never step foot in a chantry. It should be the first place to which the virtuous turn. It needs to change. Perhaps I must be the one to change it.
Your determination is admirable.
I do nothing that is not worth doing with all my heart.
It's your most attractive trait. You're not the only candidate. What about Leliana?
Leliana says she wishes to follow Justinia's legacy. But she and I remember a different person. Justinia knew her fellow clerics and the people would only accept so much change. Leliana would cast it all aside and start over, I think. And that would be chaos for us all.
What would you change about the Chantry?
The Circle of Magi has its place, but it needs reform. Let the mages govern themselves with our help. Let the Templars stand not as the jailers of mages, but as protectors of the innocent. We must be vigilant, but we must also be compassionate to all peoples of Thedas, human or no. That is what I would change.
After finally understanding, everything about Dragon Age, I've got the main story, as some I know already, is that we're gonna do female or warrior warden, to female hog, to obviously maybe female elven mage, and for the divine it's gonna be Leliana. But because this is still my first one, I might do Cassandra for this one and do Leliana for the other one.
I have influence, and I can use it to help the Chantry make up its mind.
I cannot ask you to do that.
You don't have to.
If you think that is the right thing to do, then thank you. I suppose I should not be so concerned. The clerics speak my name for now, nothing more. For now, restoring order and stopping Corypheus remain our priority.
Of course. Another time. Oh, Bells, it's you. Morris. Sir Morris, I suppose. I am serving as quartermaster for Skyhold and its arriving throngs. Stores are growing, and so long as we have fair coin to restock, you and yours will be well served.
How's it going? Do we have what we need?
With Skyhold shining like a beacon? You name it, it's here or on the way. I've wrung out the slackers, given them what for. I think I like this job.
What makes you ideal for this position? It's an important one.
My family has ties to several freehold militias, as well as cousins acting as officers in Ferelden and Orlais.
And your qualifications?
My family holds treaties with 3 new money Tevinter houses, and a rare Orzuma contract with a Paragon namesake.
And your qualifications?
To be honest, your worship, that was my question. I am the nexus of a dozen threads tied by others, designed to cast the widest and most appealing resource net. But I will rise to the occasion. Skyhold will want for nothing. I swear it.
The previous quartermaster survived Haven. Where is she?
She had views. Has views. Perfectly legitimate ones if you share them, Inquisitor. I believe it was felt that your quartermaster should be more palatable now that the Inquisition is in Orlais. She continues to serve, just not at the fore.
There are problems coming out of Halam Shiral.
There are always problems from Halam Shiral. We've lost a few contracts, but more than made up for it. Although, if a few commendations were given, it might retie some severed threads. I couldn't suggest how. That is better decided at your war table, and I'm not going near that thing.
As you were.
We are here for you, Inquisitor.
Thank you. Hey.
Take care.
Thank you.
You know I've got no problem with Orlesians, but Halam Sharal was a mess. At least under the Qun, you don't get everyone tripping on each other's dicks while the country goes to crap.
I hate politics.
You've got a crappy job then, boss.
She looked through me, from the garden.
Count yourself fortunate.
What did I tell you?
I wish to be considered a rival of them worthy of attention.
One for the Empress, for Gaspar, Brianna, the Duchess, and Coryphatus, right in the dangle bag.
Well, remind me to stay on your good side.
Don't worry, you're sparkling compared to that lot. A cook here, a footman there. What's it matter, right, so long as there's a book for the throne? A pretty one, sure, but how many lives are worth one Empress's arse? Ugh, that place. Should have just thrown in some bees and slammed the doors.
I don't know. You want to stop a party? I think you go earwigs.
I hate those things, with their little pinchy butts. Josephine should add that to her paper threats. You know the real lesson from all this? Never sleep with an Empress. That, and Briala being an idiot, the whole thing would have gone different if that little piss-up wasn't in the middle.
That was a mistake on their part. It made everything worse.
Wrong way around, Inquisitor. It started worse. Lots of people died before there was a hole in the sky. That's who you're saving. If you get a chance, maybe remind them not to be idiots.
Thank you.
I didn't understand the Grand Ball. It would have been easier if they said what they wanted.
What did you think of the masks?
What masks?
The masks. Everyone had them on their faces.
Those weren't their faces.
May I ask how things are, now that you're more of a spirit?
Questions can be shackles, but you kept me in kindness. I will answer.
What is it like to be this way?
I'm me. More me than I was. I can care and comfort, but keep clean. No shackles. They feel, forgive, forget, and I am free. Finally. Thank you.
Can you tell me more about what happened at the Spire? You and the real Cole?
I don't remember. I let that go. It isn't part of me anymore.
Can you tell me more about the Fade, now that you're more connected to it?
It is here, but held. Constrained by a construct.
Veiled. Feelings, memories, minds, mortality, all shape it. A glass to hold water. We flow to the deep. Without you, we have nothing. Not even us. That's why we want so much.
You don't mind killing people? Even being more of a spirit?
Monsters are easy. Mindless, menacing. It's harder when it's people. Venatori, bandits. People who could change. But they chose. They hurt people. We need to stop them. My blades are yours to command. I forget later, so it washes clean.
I'll talk to you later.
Yes.
Chirel was almost lost to that elf. She used the Caribbean thread to clear a road.
Want a drink? I've a hankering for company. When I was a boy, there were these urchins who roamed the streets near my father's house. One day, they found a dog. A wretched little thing. It came to them for food. They caught it, tied a rope around its neck, and strung it up. Do you know what I did?
Not the fireside tale I was expecting, Blackwall.
Just listen. I did nothing. Not a damn thing. It was crying. I saw the kicking legs, the neck straining and twisting. And I turned around, went inside, and closed the door. I could have told my father, or alerted someone. I didn't. I just pretended it wasn't happening.
You said you were just a boy.
I was old enough to know the dog was suffering and that it was wrong. I may as well have tied the noose myself. We could make the world better. It's just easier to shut our eyes.
When we first met, you were saving peasants from demons and outlaws. You're not a man who shuts his eyes. A little insane, maybe.
Of course you'd make light of it. You make saving the world look easy. The rest of us can only dream of matching what you've done. Don't you see? It's not just about what happened back then. There's always some dog out there. Some fucking mongrel that doesn't know how to stay away.
Wardens harm their own and fall to mortal failings. Where does that leave us? A Inquisitor. A title hard to rhyme. A challenge for another day, I think. Forgive me my distractions, Eminence. I'm overwhelmed by you and what you've done. My name is Meriden, a humble bard.
What do you bring to the Inquisition?
A simple thing that you know well. The power of a muse to rally hearts and minds. Inquisitor, I want to spread the word of what you've done. A small but vital role. Perhaps I'll also make a coin or two.
Are you a bard like those of Orlais?
Oh, heavens no. I'm a minstrel first. My weapon is a cutting tongue, not blades. I hope my skills will help in some small way, if only I can give your deeds their due.
Carry on, then.
Oh, I will do my best, Inquisitor.
There is an issue that you should address. I think it's worth your time, Inquisitor.
I'd be perfectly happy never again setting foot in the Winter Palace. It wasn't the gossip and backstabbing, I know what the game entails, but the indifference to it all.
Showing interest reveals weakness. Something nobles are quick to exploit.
No doubt you're right. The Chantry can be the same. Their politics are less extravagant, but just as heated. The Empress rules a country. The Divine influences half a continent.
That's all for now.
Another time, then.
Grand, isn't it? To know the sanctity of our great instinct.
Inquisitor.
How bracing to be in the thick of the game again. The last time I was at Alam Shiral was Countess Letienne's wedding. There were a dozen affairs, 5 secret alliances, and a duel between 2 chevaliers over the vintage of an Antivan port. But until the Duchess was unmasked, I've never seen the Winter Palace in shock.
You don't see the Empress of Orlais almost killed in cold blood every day.
Not so brazenly, no. The game's become increasingly insular in the past few years. Corypheus skillfully took advantage. It's disturbing so few people in the Orlesian court were aware of the Duchess's machinations.
The Empress realized she was in danger.
She's always in danger. Those loyal to her should have practiced more vigilance. But let's not lose sight of victory. Your actions at the ball have secured us allies and favors alike.
My favorite moment of the evening is still our waltz in the garden.
I could have danced with you for hours. We must do it again sometime.
"'Tis a large fortress, Inquisitor. To think, until recently this place stood decrepit, occupied only by the desperate and the lost. Now it is party to events that threaten to shake the world. I wonder if it is pleased."
It sounds like you've heard of Skyhold before.
This fortress was built upon the remains of a site holy to the ancient elves. They called it Tarar Salan, the place where the sky is kept. It is said that from here, they reached up to the heavens to bring them down to rest. They abandoned it, as did the humans who came after them. Bones laid upon bones, silent until your arrival.
I like this place. I've made it mine.
The magic in this place has seeped into the stones, protecting it from darkness. Those who let it fall to ruin did not know what they possessed. You, I think, shall do it justice. You were kind to welcome my aid, Inquisitor, even knowing as little of me as you do. I will do my best to aid your cause with all the knowledge at my disposal. This I swear to you.
You swear it? That's rather serious.
Some might think Corypheus a madman for seeking godhood. Yet one must ask, what were the old gods? What secrets of theirs did the ancient magisters know? What I fear, what all should fear, is not that Corypheus believes he can succeed, 'tis that he actually may. I understand you have spared the Grey Wardens from destroying what goodwill was left them. 'Tis good of you, considering the weakness Corypheus exploited was their own doing. Still, should a true archdemon one day arise, they will no doubt be needed. Or so they would have us believe.
Now that you've seen the Inquisition up close, what are your impressions?
'Tis remarkable what you have built. I will give you that. Leliana has built a network of spies beyond anything Thedas has seen. All this in precious little time, conjured from thin air through the power of fervor alone. I wonder if Corypheus suspected what he was enabling, just as I wonder what will become of all this once he is defeated.
I have no idea what will happen once all this is over.
Do you not? No doubt there will be countless men and women with suggestions. Beware the heights you reach, Inquisitor. When this is done, many will be eager to knock you back down.
I'd like to know more about you.
Ah yes, whence comes the mystery woman slinking her way into the Inquisition's ranks? Once I was an apostate, living well away from the banal influence of the Chantry in the Kukari Wilds. Then came the Fifth Blight with its darkspawn, and I left Ferelden for the Empress's court. 'Tis certain the nobles of Orlais breathe a collective sigh of relief that I am now here.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight?
The Blight began in the Kukari Wilds, so yes, I experienced it firsthand. Indeed, I fought at the hero of Ferelden's side for a time. She is the reason the Blight was defeated. We did not part on good terms. I regret a great deal, but that, most of all. And after that, I came to Orlais. The last place one would look for me, or such was my hope.
Yeah, based from the way she is sounding, I think some people find out from this, from the way she talks about the hero of Ferelden, that when it's obviously female, or not really female, but when you get 100% friendly rate with Morgan in the first game, it goes to show, like, you know, like, she trusts you, she cares about you and everything. So obviously when she comes at you with the offer to save your life, it's because she cares about you, and Morgan doesn't want to lose the warden. But that you don't have a good relationship with her, she says something pretty different. So in here you can tell that she misses the warden, the warden commander. She misses her a lot and wishes she could have said something different to save her.
The Orlesian court seems like an odd place to find someone like you.
That was the point, originally. I knew the Empress was intrigued by the arcane, and that I could answer questions no Chantry mage could. Thus we fit together nicely. I became her advisor, and she my benefactor and source of refuge. Truth be told, our arrangement would not have lasted much longer. Too many wagging tongues, even for Celine.
It's odd that an apostate could live so openly.
It confuses those who expect apostates to cower and hide. I stand boldly before them and demand to know why I need some Chantry mage to teach me to control my power. They would put me on a leash so they can feel safer at night. I am uninterested in their comfort. Naturally, it helps to have friends in high places.
I'll leave you to the garden.
Until next time, then. I imagine your forces will be heading into the Arbor Wilds very soon, Inquisitor. Trust me when I say that wherever the Alluvian is hidden, it is worth any effort to prevent Corypheus from acquiring it.
What work have you been doing to help us?
Currently, my efforts are focused on determining what Corypheus is, and from where his power comes. The elven orb he carries is what draws my attention. I wonder if the power he used to tear open the Fade, in fact, came from the orb. Perhaps it is even the source of your anchor. If I learn of its origin, I may also learn what Corypheus now intends, as well as his weaknesses.
Do you know anything about his dragon?
It has the appearance of an archdemon. Of that, I am certain. A true archdemon, however, is supposedly the corrupted form of an old god. Has Corypheus actually dug up one of the ancient prisons? If so, why has a new blight not begun? His dragon is something else, something connected to his blighted nature as well as his magic. Beyond that, I cannot say.
I could use your company for my excursions outside Skyhold.
I have spent my share of time wandering the wilderness in the company of others, Inquisitor. Thank you for the invitation, but for now I will restrict my efforts to researching the arcane.
Is it even possible that Corypheus could succeed?
The Black City exists. Wherever one goes in the Fade, it is visible in the sky. The last time Corypheus and his cohort stormed its doors, they unleashed the Blight upon the world. This time, perhaps he might indeed gain untold power, becoming something unto a god. It is also possible he could unleash something far worse than the Blights. So yes, Corypheus could succeed in his goal. If not, his attempt alone could destroy the world.
Corypheus says I'm a rival. Does that mean...
Could you become a god? That depends. Are you prepared to use your anchor to enter the Black City?
If the anchor would let me do that, absolutely.
Then Corypheus is correct. You are a rival.
We know so little about Corypheus.
Continue prodding at Corypheus, Inquisitor. Elicit a reaction, and we may yet learn from it.
I'll leave you to the garden.
Until next time, then.
Inquisitor, the soldiers say you banished the demons at Adamant and freed the Grey Warden mages. I understand from Sister Leliana that the truth is somewhat more complex, but no less extraordinary. She said that you spoke with a figure in the Fade that seemed to be the soul of divine Justinia. I suspect many of the faithful would like to know what Justinia told you.
She helped me remember what happened at the Conclave. The Maker didn't give me the mark on my hand. I was struck in battle. And Andraste didn't send me. The figure everyone saw was Divine Justinia.
So it is as you have always maintained. You must feel quite vindicated.
I may not have believed, but part of me always hoped it was true. That I was the Herald of Andraste.
Who is to say that you are not? Forget the mark. Forget the figure standing over you as you fell from the Fade. The people needed a sign that in this harsh and unforgiving world, there existed some reason to hope. And they found that in you.
That isn't how it works. The evidence for me having some divine mission was proven false.
This is the trouble with metaphors and the educated. A farmer cannot understand the truth of the Maker, so he learns that the Maker is a man, but greater. A mage learns the same thing, knows it to be simplistic, and feels clever for realizing it is not literally true. But a metaphor is not a lie. It is a tool to help people understand something beyond them, and we need such a tool.
I hadn't thought of it that way.
A life of service to the Chantry means learning to share the wisdom of the Maker with all his children. A farmer, a noble, a warrior, and a mage will all see different aspects of the Maker in their lives. They must each hear the story that will reach them, and each of those stories is valid. Now, is there anything I can help you with?
Farewell.
Until next time.
First, this wasn't my idea. It is an issue born of titles and heir apparency and... Halam Shiral is having difficulty freeing trade routes formerly controlled by Duchess Florian. Had she been tried, her assets would be forfeit and considerable bureaucracy avoided. So they ask that we judge her.
Are you serious? I did my part. She's dead.
That was the time allotted for rebuttal. Her crimes negated any claim to... Forgive me, there is an odor.
Grand Duchess Florian de Chalon? Guilty. Your claims are forfeit. I assume, Josephine, this is enough?
Quite, Inquisitor. And again, my apologies.
With the Civil War over, Orlais is focusing on rebuilding. Inquisitor. Let us begin.
Inquisitor.
The workers are almost done building a lift to the deep roads. No darkspawn trouble yet, but the earthquakes have been brutal.
I was told to meet a Shaper Volta.
She's waiting below. You won't see an Orzammar dwarf on the surface. They have rules about that.
How many quakes have there been since you arrived?
At least 3 big rumblers. And the aftershocks are nothing to sneeze at. My feet miss solid ground.
So you haven't seen any darkspawn up here?
I sharpened my arrows just in case, but they never showed. I'm okay with that.
Josephine's report mentioned several lyrium mines were damaged by the quakes.
You'll see what's left of this one on your way down. From what I hear, the other mines are barely holding together.
From your tone, I'd guess Orzammar isn't your favorite place.
I don't have an opinion. Cloud gazers like me aren't allowed in the city. The lift's ready for you. Try not to shift around, and keep back from the edge. It's a long way down.
So, the deep roads. Do you think there'll be tight spaces? Long hallways with low ceilings?
Possibly. Why?
Just hoping my horns fit.
We should be wary of raw lyrium.
I'm more worried about finding darkspawn.
Neither is a pleasing prospect.
Dwarves cannot dream, yet they devise the most fascinating inventions.
Not all ideas come from the Fade.
True. But these designs must be inspired by something.
Nalfric, your names will not be forgotten.
You must be Shaper Volta.
Atrast Vala, Inquisitor. The Shaper it welcomes you to the Deep Roads.
What does a Shaper do exactly?
We chronicle the life and times of our people.
You're historians.
Also scholars and genealogists. Shapers preserve knowledge in the memories, an archive in Orzammar. We record memories in Lyrium to ensure they never fade. We must be meticulous in every detail.
A difficult task.
You look as though you're hiding from something.
As a citizen of Orzammar, even a glimpse of your sky could cost me my position and render me castless.
How many dwarves have you lost?
More than we can count. The mining caste has suffered greatly. Our situation has worsened since we contacted Skyhold. The quakes collapsed this mine and shattered a seal, keeping the Darkspawn at bay. The Legion of the Dead hasn't been able to mend the broken seal, and we can't afford to lose any more lyrium.
I've read about the Legion of the Dead. Dwarves who fight Darkspawn in service to Orzammar. They commit their lives to the cause and celebrate their own funerals before entering the Deep Roads.
No matter their sins in life, the Legion die noble deaths.
Orzammar deals with Darkspawn all the time. Why request the Inquisition's help?
The Legion isn't prepared for this level of disaster, and the Grey Wardens haven't answered our calls for aid. Any threat to the flow of lyrium requires immediate response. The Inquisition is the only force we can rely upon.
What will happen if we lose more lyrium mines?
The surface needs lyrium for all sorts of magic. The Inquisition more than most, I understand. And Orzammar's economy relies on the lyrium trade. Without it, there will be chaos above and below.
The Inquisition stands ready to aid Orzammar. Without a steady lyrium supply, things on the surface will get even worse.
Apologies for pushing you. I fear the damage that tremor caused. Follow me to the Legion camp. These roads are dangerous.
attack!
If the ogre reached this point, the Legion must be overwhelmed. Let us hurry.
I do want to say my piece on the Darkspawn here, that you can clearly see from, you know, the trailer as well, and when you fight them from several places around Ferelden, that one, they made him look like it's a combination of how they used to look like in Origins, because, you know, in Origins they were, whoa, really scary, and then when you see them in the second one, they didn't look that menacing and scary because they weren't that big of a threat anymore in the second game, and obviously not in this one as well. And when it came to a look at the Darkspawn, it looks as if like they had a combination of like keeping the same look from Origins while keeping the appearance of how they are in the second game. And then when it came to the trolls, the ogres I should say, I don't know, I don't know if I really liked how the ogres looked, because in the first game, you know, they made them look really, really scary because of how they looked. In the second game, they kind of kept them the same, but with the only thing that was different was just how the animation design and everything was different. And in here, it kind of looks as if like they kept them almost exactly the same, but then the faces look like they've been boned dry or something. And I'm not sure if I like that, how the face looked like it's been bone dry or something. But that's just me. I can't say for other people.
I will never get used to the stench of Darkspawn. They corrupt everything, even the air. That's the broken seal ahead. It is worse than I thought.
Get those charges to the tunnels! Someone prime the sonic fuses!
We can't lose this position! Hurry!
Can't set the charges with those bastards breathing down our necks!
Clear out the Darkspawn!
Keep it up! The seal's clear! Prime the charges!
Now! Set the charges!
Inquisitor, meet Lieutenant Wren, a veteran of the 5th Flight and one of the Legion's finest commanders.
Someone paid her to say that. Appreciate the help, Inquisitor. Collapsing that seal bought us time. Blighters had the run of these tunnels for days. Now they have a roadblock.
I get the impression you two have known each other a while.
Yeah. The Shaper had sent her to dig up some relics. Asked me to keep her out of trouble. That was 3 years ago.
You can quit any time.
Not when we still have things to fight about.
How many deep roads are there? How deep do they go?
They'll take you from one side of Thetis to the other, if you have a death wish.
The roads once connected dwarven cities that were hundreds of miles apart. Then came the Darkspawn. Ren and I have been exploring this region, reclaiming it, but the work is slow.
Mark the map, fight an army. Mark the map, fall in a hole. And so on.
For such a small group, your people have held up well.
The quakes took a lot of us. Reinforcements will be slow to arrive.
You heard that, yes? The rhythm in the tremors? It's clearer, stronger, more insistent.
I hear it. Doesn't prove a thing.
These quakes are not a natural disaster. They're deliberate. There's an intelligence behind them.
How could an earthquake be caused deliberately?
We get plenty of natural tremors down here. These are different. She thinks she knows why.
I found an ancient text during an expedition with Ren last year. At the time, it was just a curiosity, but now... The text describes giant creatures, called Titans, living deep underground. They sing in the stone, shaping it. When these quakes began, I believe we heard that rhythm. I believe a Titan is causing all this destruction.
All I heard was an earthquake. How is it you and Ren hear a rhythm?
Our people have a strong connection to the stone. We feel it in a way topsiders cannot.
Shapers have great stone sense, and Volta's better than most. She never gets lost.
I've never heard of Titans before. What else can you tell me about them?
The text I found predated the First Blight. Its pages had mostly rotted away, and there's no mention of the Titans in Orzamar's memories.
Which tells you something.
You speak of the stone like it's more than walls.
The stone is eternal. She was here before us, and remains after we die.
But the stone isn't your god.
We don't worship her, but we do respect and honor her.
The stone makes us strong, and we return that strength to her when we die. It's difficult to express in words.
Mysterious songs often lure people to their deaths, or to an archdemon.
This rhythm isn't a song, exactly. It sounds like air flowing through lungs.
Air that can collapse a whole mine.
A mystery worth investigating.
In my experience, no explanation is too strange to consider.
For all we know, that text you found was a bedtime story. We can't be sure until we find the source.
The rhythm I sense in the quakes is emanating from somewhere far below. The stone will lead us there.
And if it comes to a fight, that'll be our job. There's a lift at the side passage nearby. Ready when you are.
So it's true. The king involved a surfacer.
Clean it, right?
To my understanding on how this all works with the deep roads and the uncharted abyss, to my understanding, the deep roads represent on where you must go and the planning pretty much, and the uncharted abyss is what comes after you do the whole deep road stuff. So you're basically going to be going back and forth with this a lot. Because the one that I heard about the expansion packs, the expansions, DLCs, the Descent, the Jaws of Harkon, and obviously, you know, the Trespasser, they all each have their own pretty lengthy story, which is why, you know, like, for many of those who've seen Trespasser, you know, it's pretty much about the story of how 2 years after they defeated Corypheus, the Kunari have now taken over. Solus has done deals in his own way, is still helping the Inquisition. You're in a fight and a war with the Kunari, freeing the dragon and so forth. And obviously in here, you know, you're dealing with Darkspawn while helping the Legion go deeper and deeper, trying to find the source and, and so forth. And then you also, got the Jaws of Hakon, where you go into the mountains, and so forth. So each of the expansion DLCs have their own pretty length story. And, it's pretty much the same thing for all the other DLC expansions for Origins too, because in Dragon Age Origins, the expansion stories they did was Liliana's song, the pre-story to her, the Golems of Amarok, the DLC Awakening, which was the more length story one, and then obviously Witch Hunts. But Witch Hunt, the Golems of Amarok, and Liliana's song were like maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours worth of doing stuff, whereas the Awakening was more longer, because it expands more to a bit of Ferelden, or at least just the top bit of it. And then you got Dragon Age 2, where the memento of the assassin takes you somewhere over the Free Marches, where you help her with the Canary and all that. And then you got the mark of the legacy, the memento of the legacy, where you're traveling somewhere to the desert to take care of Corypheus. And that's technically all they did. It was just 2 expansion DLC. That's all it was. And then you got this one where it's pretty much the same. They expanded the DLC to add more and more story into it. And who knows, maybe Velgar in a year or 2 would have something similar or not. But we'll just have to see. But anyway, since we have now just started entering, considering what we just did before and not my intentions, we'll stop here since we've just done the entrance, and as I said, have a pretty good idea on like what it is we do with the Deep Roads and the Uncharted Abyss going back and forth everywhere. We're going to stop here, and obviously we're gonna go forth in whenever we come back, and as always, leave a like and comments.